Welcome to another installment of the Soy Checkoff Check-In. I'm your host and AgriTalk host, Chip Flory. We are in the middle of a conversation with the new chair of the United Soybean Board, Philip Good from Mississippi, and with USB CEO Lucas Lentsch. Lucas, share with us some of the specific initiatives where you see unity, leadership, discipline, making a difference for U.S. soybean farmers.
Well, if you're listening to this program today and you're thinking about soy, there's a number of organizations that work together behind the scenes, and that's why unity is such an important word. The American Soybean Association, for example, they work in the halls of Congress, but there's research that they depend on us for as the promotion system to make sure that we're educating and doing the proper research that will impact policy in the future. There's also things like the United Soybean Export Council. That export body of work and the number of countries that we are involved in, that's farmers making sure we have an in-market presence to ensure that soybeans have an opportunity to not only be utilized domestically, but have a house and a home internationally. And that partnership is incredibly important. So whether you're looking at USB, United Soybean Export Council, American Soybean Association, it's like the three legs of the stool.
Yep.
We can't ever forget the important value of the soy community working together.
Fantastic. Philip, demand building, demand-driven initiatives, which ones excite you the most?
Well, I don't think everyone knows that soybean meal exports set a new record in 24 year with Philippines, Mexico, and Canada being our top three markets. So, as a soybean farmer, I'm excited to export soybean meal, or meat. When you think about chickens, poultry, swine, and dairy being some of our top consumers, in animal agriculture for soybean meal, I'm excited about any three of those being exported right now. But I hope, and I really think that, biofuels going forward, there's a great opportunity that we have not fully tapped into. There's been some different restrictions or holdbacks on that, but I really feel like that is a big future, but it's going to be demand that is going to be pulling us forward, and we're all about creating demand wherever it may be around the world.
Okay, and Philip, you talked earlier about that return on the investment for every dollar invested at $12.30 return. What are you going to do to make sure that ROI continues?
Well, we're bringing contractors, we're bringing staff and increasing staff in-house, and so we're looking at cost efficiencies there. I think that we're able to work very closely now with staff that are helping us with our decisions and following through with that. So cost-cutting measures are there, along with our partners looking at the entire world as far as opportunities in different countries. We've had the opportunity to educate and promote and do that research literally around the world, changing lives. We're working on changing the lives in different countries when they are developing something as simple as growing aquaculture in their culture. Yeah. So, there's just opportunities galore that we're really just getting started.
Fantastic. All right, Lucas, as we are moving forward, how do you see soy playing a role across industries in animal ag, biofuels? We've got to take a leadership role in that, correct?
Absolutely. It's an incredibly exciting time. And I know that sometimes we think about the value of Checkoff related to the value of my current bushel of beans being sold. And the one thing about the Checkoff over the last 3 decades, it has been the long-term investment vehicle, as we talked about the cost benefit of that return, if you will, for farmers' investment. The things that continue to keep me excited is the innovation pipeline is incredible. The drop-in replacement of a soybean oil, if you will, against a petroleum-based product, we can compete head-to-head in that space. And it's the innovations that come from that. We've talked about that in the past, from the Goodyear tires to tennis shoes to the turf. But what's that next big thing, and where's that going to come from? Obviously, the fuel space is incredibly exciting. It's a frontier that has a lot of potential demand from sustainable aviation fuel. But you start thinking about rail and marine, and what's the utilization on bio-based diesel in the future? And what's that important role that policymakers continue to have the right research, the right carbon intensity understanding of, and how soybeans play in the feedstock for those bio-based fuels in the future.
Outstanding, gentlemen. Thank you so much for spending some time with us today. That is the new chair of the United Soybean Board, Philip Good, and the CEO of the USB, Lucas Lentsch. I am looking forward to many more conversations in the year ahead. That wraps up this edition of the Soy Checkoff Check-In. Don't forget, you can learn more about what's happening at the United Soybean Board and with the Soy Checkoff by going to www.unitedsoybean.org. I'm your host, Chip Flory. Now let's get back to AgriTalk.